There is nothing wrong with your browser. Do not attempt to refresh the page. We are now controlling all that you see and hear. We control the horizontal and the vertical. We can delude you with 1,000 videos or expand one single frame to crystal clarity and beyond. We can shape your vision to anything our imagination can design. We shall control all that you perceive until we see fit to release you. You are about to experience the depths of depravity that reach from the folly of human pursuits to the deputy of common sense. Please stand by.
Hello, ladies, gentlemen, and demons of stupidity. It is I, Aleister Crowley III, agent of chaos and demiurge of discord. Let me ask you all a question. What if everything was perfect? What if there were no disease, no famine, no war, no tyranny, no poverty, no murder, no rape, and no theft? What if nobody grew old? What if nobody died? What if every need you had was met by society? What if the chaos that has been part of our world since its inception just suddenly vanished? What if everything was perfect? Today, we'll explore what might happen in such a scenario, what life might look like for us, what our future might be, and why I'd hate living in such a world. Picture, if you will, immaculately clean streets, filled with laughing people for whom strife is a thing of the past, for whom conflict is a half-remembered dream. What would life look like for such people? Well, there would be no need to work, as we wouldn't need to pay for our goods and services. We'd likely have an AI doing everything for us. The AI would provide our food, it would build our homes, it would manufacture our technology, it would transport us from place to place, it would clean up after us, it would provide our medical care, and it might even run our government for us. In such a world, borders might be a thing of the past. We might have a one-world government presided over by AIs. We'd live completely free lives. No suffering, no conflict, no worries. We would just be free to do whatever the hell we wanted. It would be perfect. Or would it? What would we lose in such a scenario? Well, the first thing would be art. Can a machine truly create art? Would there even be art in this supposed society? Can a machine truly understand beauty? Can it understand love? Can it understand fear? Imagine a government run by a machine that cannot even understand basic human concepts. Can a machine comprehend compassion to the point where it can govern a society properly? Would we be trading freedom for security? And if we became complacent, would the price of our happiness be our individuality? Are we even capable of living in a society without strife? I don't think so. Humans are animals, in both the literal and colloquial sense of the word. Whether you believe in evolution or creationism, you know as well as I do that humans are flawed beings. So what would happen when a flawed being experienced perfection while retaining the flaws inherent to its nature? My theory is intense happiness. at first. The freedom to do as one pleases without consequence is a gift and a curse. It's intoxicating, but as with any drug, the high will fade and a crash will come. Humanity needs fulfillment. We need a purpose. We need to fight to survive. This is our survival instinct. It's part of our very DNA. So what happens when you no longer need to fight in order to survive? What happens in a world without conflict? I think mankind would grow restless. I think the fire that burns in our souls would scream for release. I think that fire would eventually burst forth and consume everything in its path. I think we would burn with the desire to revolt against the AI. And with the desire for revolution comes the inevitability of violence. And so, a charismatic new leader would arise and we'd tear down what had been built. Why? Because this is the way it has to be. This is the way it has always been. This is our nature. The history of mankind is a lot like an endless waltz. The 3 beats of war, peace, and revolution will span on until we obliterate ourselves. Have you ever wondered why Utopia has never been achieved? It's not because we have war, famine, and disease. It's not the difference of opinion between our fellow men. It's because we can't handle Utopia. And we can't handle it because we don't really want it. Utopia isn't in our nature. We are Tantalus, and the concept of Utopia is like the grapes that hang from the stem, always tempting us, but always just beyond our reach. It hovers just beyond our grasp. It always has, and it always will. No matter how much we might strain to reach it, it will always remain outside our grasp. Why? Because in our heart of hearts, we don't want utopia. We don't want peace. We don't want a life free of pain. Because pain is what shapes us. Pain makes us stronger. Suffering allows us to grow. Why do we fall? So we can learn to pick ourselves up again. We must fail in order to succeed. If we never fail, we'd never grow. Evolution is biological growth. Evolution can only succeed by bringing success from failure. That's what natural selection is. If you remove failure, then the result is stagnation. The species ceases to grow and eventually dies off. There are built-in safeguards to prevent a species from doing this. Ours is the fact that we constantly battle with one another. It's our individuality. It's the fact that each side is desperate to stand victorious on top of the pile. And after one of us achieves victory, another will soon rise to challenge this new leader, after which the process will begin and the waltz continues, on and on and on. This is our nature. This is why world peace is an unattainable idea. And this is why we should not want to obtain it. Peace is the end of suffering, and the end of suffering is the end of our species. I must tell you the honest truth as I see it. In this world, utopia is a sweet lie told to children to ease their worries. That may seem like a monstrous thing to say, but it's the way things are. That's why philosophers pursue the concept of utopia. It's our holy grail. But when things are all said and done, I have to ask myself, what is the true worth of utopia? And the answer I came up with was nothing. Not one thing. Utopia is devoid of any worth whatsoever. It is unobtainable. It is impractical. It causes stagnation in our species. However, the crusade to achieve the unachievable, to obtain the unobtainable, to do the impossible, is not only the journey of a scientist, but also the journey of a philosopher. Philosophers agonize over the desire to understand and achieve impossible concepts. Ours are just invisible. We deal in ideas, not physical constructs. Philosophers agonize over the attempt to understand and achieve impossible concepts. That's the kind of creatures we are. We take joy in trying to exceed the grasp of ordinary human thought, and we seek to touch the very hand of God itself. We thrive on trying to reach for something that we have to admit may in fact be unreachable. In other words, we're fools chasing after fireflies in the dark. But if we didn't have the chase, there would be no point in being a philosopher. If there were no ideas left to pursue, life wouldn't have any meaning for us. A life without struggle is a life without purpose. Why else do you think that the rich and powerful are so miserable? Why do you think Winona Ryder turned to shoplifting? Why do you think Bill Cosby chose to rape people? Why do you think so many famous marriages are filled with conflict, misery, and ugly divorces? Why do you think so many child stars end up becoming miserable adults? Why do you think Donald Trump cannot find happiness despite being the most powerful man in the US? Why do you think drug use, depression, and suicide are so common among the rich and famous? What traits do you and I have that they lack? It's quite simple. The reason should be painfully obvious to those who seek it. I figured it out a long time ago. It's because they don't need to struggle in order to survive. They can have anything they want. They can have anyone they want. They can buy anything they want. They can buy anyone they want. They can even buy their way out of most crimes. They have legions of fans at their beck and call. So why are they still miserable? Why do they turn to drugs, alcohol, and crime so often? If they have so much, why do they still seek more? The reality is, their misery isn't in spite of their wealth and notoriety, it's because of it. Humans evolved as hunters and gatherers. Yet how often do we hunt? How often do we catch our own food in these modern times? How often do we build our own shelters? We've moved so far from our origin that we've all but forgotten it. It's a half-remembered dream. And though our species is at its zenith, we still retain a lot of our primal instincts. We fulfill ourselves by working a job, pursuing a romantic partner, rearing a family, and discovering new things that excite us. But what happens when you gain the ability to achieve all those things without needing to expend any effort? What happens when competition and uncertainty are removed from the equation? Restlessness, withdrawal, the feeling of an itch you can't seem to scratch nor ignore. So what is one to do? You won't give away your wealth. You can't. Humans are innately greedy and possessive by nature, and it's not like you can give away fame. So what do? You manufacture your own conflict. You manufacture your own excitement. You fight with your spouse. You cheat on them. You hurt your kids. You hurt other people. You do drugs. You drink. You take up extreme sports. You commit crimes. Why do you do these things? Why do you risk your own life and your own freedom when you have so much already? The answer is twofold. Number one, it creates an artificial struggle that fulfills the instinct for survival. Number two, it fulfills the deeper subconscious desire to self-destruct. Deep down, the rich and famous want the whole thing to end. They want to bring their entire lives crashing down on their heads. We can't handle all that luxury. Nobody can. It's not in our nature. We seek competition. Competition needs conflict and uncertainty to be successful. So when you remove those things from the equation, you leave a void behind. You leave an empty, hollow space in yourself that you need to fill. And try as you might, you cannot fill that void with material things. That is impossible. You are trying to fill a primal need with such trivial things as expensive cars, jewelry, and other luxuries. Try as you might, you will never fill that void with material things. So at this point, you might be asking, Alistair, does this mean that mankind will never see peace? Does this mean that capitalism is empty? Have we strayed from our path? Does this mean that we are doomed to fight until we go extinct? Is there any way to escape this sword of Damocles above our heads? The answer to that is complicated. Far too complicated to explain in this video. Humans as they are now will never be peaceful. True peace is an illusion. But maybe, someday, when the fire in our hearts has been tempered by many millions of years of evolution, maybe, just maybe, at some point, far, far in the future, when we have learned to transcend our violent nature, maybe then we will achieve peace and harmony. But if you ask me, I think we will walk the path of those who fight until the world is littered with our bones. And there's nothing wrong with that. That may seem monstrous to say, but it's true. Impermanence is the nature of reality. It is the way of the universe. Nothing lasts forever. Empires fall. Civilizations end. Species go extinct. Planets become barren. Stars explode and go dark. Galaxies break apart. Someday, perhaps, maybe even the universe itself will collapse. The hardest lessons that I've learned in my life are the impermanence of the universe and everything in it, as well as the frailty of the human heart. Whether you like it or not, everything will cease to exist one day. But personally, I wouldn't have it any other way. My life has been one of constant struggle. I haven't had a single day of peace. I don't understand the concept. I can't even begin to comprehend why someone would want to remove the very thing that has made me who I am today. The idea of living without pain, of living without competition, that idea horrifies me. It's as terrifying to me as the idea of losing an arm is to others. I don't know any other way to live. I thrive on chaos. I am at my best when I have something to fight against. My best work comes when I have a foil to bounce ideas off of. So as much as I hate religious nuts and SJWs, I don't want them gone. To anyone within those groups that might see this, here's a personal message from me to you. I don't want you gone. I never have. What would I do without you? No, you complete me. Having you idiots there makes me stronger. All the hate and enmity you throw at me gets absorbed and transformed into fuel to create new ideas. Every single struggle that I have gone through in my life has created scars, and those scars have become battle armor. Without you, I wouldn't have the inspiration to create new arguments. Without you, I'd have no reason to learn. Without you, I'd have no foe to galvanize my spirit and fuel my ideas. So you can write your comments, you can make your videos, you can continue trying to tear things down. I encourage it, because with every single step you take towards the darkness that lies within your hearts, you give me the strength to take one more step towards the light. Everything you do only makes me stronger. I am the embodiment of the phoenix. The flame of the immortal bird burns in my soul. No matter how many times I am engulfed in the flames of torment, I will be reborn from the ashes as a new man. This is my advice to all of you. Take every horrible thing that someone says or does to you, and those you hold dear. Take every cruel whisper, vicious threat, wicked comment, or physical blow that someone might inflict on you, and transform all those negative feelings into the strength you need to carry on. Because every day that you live in spite of the cruelty of others pierces their hearts like the blades of 1,000 knives. As the old adage goes, living well is the best revenge. And that's the answer to all the problems I've put forth in this video. The answer isn't to eliminate suffering and conflict. The answer is to embrace it, to learn from it, and to build yourself up with the ashes of those who have tried to tear you down. The secret is building your throne out of every scar that you have received from a foe. If you can endure whatever others throw at you and avoid becoming callous and cruel yourself, while using their malicious feelings to better yourself, then you don't really need to remove pain from your life at all. If pain makes you stronger, you don't need to get rid of it at all, do you? You just need to accept it and to allow it to make you grow. Conflict and entropy are eternal. You cannot escape them. However, how you let it shape you is your decision. You can choose to be callous and cruel, You can choose to become as wicked as they are, or you can choose to let the flames of their hate purify you, and you can rise from the ashes as a new person. And just like the mighty phoenix, you can soar through the skies as a beacon of light to everyone. I choose to learn from my mistakes. I hope all of you can learn from yours. I hope all of you can learn from your pain and never lose your flames. I'm the Deputy of Common Sense. I dispense swift justice to those who aren't so swift. Now, bon nuit to you all.
Staff?
Over here by the window.
What do you see?
Another day.
Perhaps how we face death is not as important as how we face life. To live each day with hope, with courage, and with love, as if it were our last.